Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to another episode of Europa Rediviva. Today, I'd like to address an objection that I kept receiving recurrently, and that is, why don't I make these programs in Romanian? And there are several reasons for that. One reason is that in the long run, I believe that I will have a greater audience in English. Right now, it is not the case because, of course, the Romanian language audience is about 3 times higher on my previous Romanian language videos. And if I were to switch to Romanian, I would probably get such an audience, I don't know, four times higher than what I currently have. However, because I'm doing this in English, which has a greater number of speakers, I am betting that on the long run, there will be more people interested in the content I'm doing than there would be Romanians. Like, let's say 5 years from now, I bet that more English speakers will be interested in what I'm saying than would be the case if I stuck to Romanian. I don't think the potential of the Romanian-speaking public that takes interest in what I have to say is that large. So the pool of potential watchers from Romania would probably be exhausted in, say, a year or two, and from then onwards, my channel would basically plateau. Whereas in English, of course, it's a long and hard rise, but I think I will manage to get a larger audience with the passage of time. Because even though right now there would be quite a few Romanians curious of what I have to say, unfortunately, my opinions are very different from those of the majority of the Romanians, and therefore I do not bet that I would have a large following in Romanian. It's true that I used to have a large following on Facebook, but also that following fluctuated. So whenever I wrote something that contradicted the American point of view, for example, quite a lot of people said that I'm betraying the cause and that I'm betraying sovereigntism and whatever. So actually, the pool of Romanians wishing to think in a multipolar way is not that big, unfortunately. Or perhaps it is big, but in non-overlapping circles. So among the intellectual class to whom I generally addressed my posts, they are not that many, and perhaps they would be more among the people who are retired, people who are perhaps of a lower educational level. But it's hard to reach those people. So opinion polls show that there is nostalgia for the communist period in Romania among the older generations, but I don't think I could reach them through Facebook videos anyway. Plus, they do not have a means to replicate their ideas, unfortunately, so they are dying out. And in the future, I don't see potential in these kinds of ideas among the new generations of Romanians. And therefore, also because of my interactions in Romania, because of how I tried to convince people around me of various things which I find quite obvious, because of my track record in the Romanian language space, I would rather go for the English version, and I would rather try to communicate to an international audience. Also because I'm making quite a few videos not on the topic of Romania. It's true that the topic of Romania occupies the majority of my channel, because I'm Romanian, I was brought up in Romania, born in Romania, educated in Romania until a certain age. And I've also spent quite a large part of my life in Romania, and I've also tried to improve things in Romania, and I've tried to enter the political system, and let's say I've managed to penetrate the elite to a sufficient degree that I've made some opinions of my own. I've reached some conclusions that I did not read in newspapers. I just reached them out of interactions with people who form part of this elite. And I don't mean only the people from political parties or who have political office. I also mean people from the from the judicial system, people from the media, people from the so-called civil society. I've built a rather original perspective. Original in the sense that it is highly personal. It is the product of my interactions, and it is original also in the sense that it's not very popular. So my conclusions are not widely spread. Most of the people that I spoke to in these years see things differently, different from each other, perhaps, but definitely differently from me. And so I don't think my perspective is. I don't think my perspective has the potential of becoming very popular in Romania. Then there is another motive, the fact that in case it were popular, that would put me in danger. So right now we have this quite strong repression going on in Romania through the means of lawfare, through the means of censorship, through the means of intimidation, through the means of political terrorism. So these threats of assassinations carried out by terrorist guerrilla groups on the territory of Romania that are linked with Ukraine, and so on and so forth, which the Romanian state not only tolerates but actively promotes. So we have this environment of state repression in Romania. And because I was quite viral on Facebook, and because also my appearances on several podcasts, Romanian language podcasts, made me rather popular, I prefer to not be so popular in the Romanian language space, because I would be, well, I was already labeled and I am already on the hit lists and everything, and I do not want to draw more attention onto myself from this point of view, because the repressors, the censors, claim that they use a methodology and claim that their endeavor is somehow scientific. And therefore, because I'm domiciled abroad, my channel is domiciled abroad, I do not speak Romanian, it's hard for me to imagine how the censors would pick on me, the official censors. Of course, yeah, the guerrilla groups and everything, yeah, sure, okay, they will not delete me from their website because I switched to English. But for example, this event that the president of Romania hosted last month, and which showed the faces of the biggest disinformers in the Romanian language space, that could have never included me because I'm not in the Romanian language space. So I'm trying to keep a low profile from this point of view, because I'm pretty sure that repression will only get worse. So in the process of state dissolution, in which Romania is, there will be more repression, and it will be carried out quite brutally, I think. And this is why I left the country, and this is why I don't want to speak Romanian, and I don't want to address myself only to Romanian language speakers. So I'd like to be this international YouTuber, just like there are people speaking English from all sorts of countries, even when speaking about their own country. So, for example, you have Syriana Analysis. Kevor Kalmasian is a Syrian guy of Armenian descent. He has a channel in English about Syria. Okay. You have the Armenian News Network, a channel in English about Armenia. You have the Golden Fleece, a Georgian information channel about Georgia in English, and so on and so forth. So there are quite a lot of these English language channels on YouTube about various countries, because they want to introduce those countries to an international audience, and I'm trying to do the same about Romania. And adding content that's general about Europe, and that's of interest perhaps to other internationals that are not in Romania, do not speak Romanian, are not interested necessarily in Romania. This is why the channel is also called Europa Rediviva. It's a Latin name. And I chose the name because I was not sure which language I would use, and therefore Latin, because it's kind of like the mother language of the majority of the European languages, or at least of the European languages I speak. I thought would be kind of a Jolly Joker type of solution. So whichever language I decide to have the channel in, Europa Rediviva is still a Latin name, carries some prestige. So yeah, it's useful also for English. It's useful for whichever other language I chose, because all Western European countries had Latin as their official language at some point. So yeah, it would pass as a channel title, even though it's an international one. And this is what I wanted to say about my motivations for doing this in English. I hope I will attract more English speakers from outside Romania, and I hope I will overcome the trauma of Romania in the next episodes, so as to speak about more general topics. Also, with my life being carried out abroad, I will probably approach more topics that have to do with my adoptive countries. So let's see how this goes. And this preamble being over, I would like to speak about an extension of the topic of my previous episode, meaning the treacherous nature of the Romanians, and how this culture of treachery impedes us from building institutions and from developing autonomy, because any kind of institution we build, it's only a matter of time until somebody sells out at the top and subverts the purpose of that institution and puts that institution into the service of the power that it was supposed to counteract. And a case in point is the biggest sovereigntist party in Romania, allegedly sovereigntist. They call themselves conservatives, not sovereigntists, and I think it's a more appropriate term because I don't regard them as being sovereigntist. They drew attention onto themselves in the past days, both through a visit in Israel. Well, actually, not in Israel, in the occupied territories. And by the occupied territories, I do not mean the pre-1967 Israel. I mean the post-1967, what they regard as Israel, the colonies of the occupied West Bank. And the president of this party that's affiliated with the European Conservatives and Reformists parliamentary group, went there in a delegation with prominent members of parliament, members of the European Parliament, and held a meeting of support with the head of a colonist movement. So something more radical than Benjamin Netanyahu. Likud is a rather extremist party, but still, Likud is not Meir Kahane. Likud is not Ben Gvir. Likud is not Bezalel Smotrich. And our legitimized some settler movement without calling it such. I don't even know if these guys have any idea what the West Bank is and what those colonies are, and I'm pretty sure that this whole matter escapes them, and I'm pretty sure they have no clue what radical fascists they went to visit. I'm pretty sure they are clueless, and they're also not interested in finding out, because this is also something in the Romanian culture. It's not fake it till you make it. It's fake it until you fake it, and you keep on faking it, and you will always fake it. And, you'll make it at some point until some other faker comes from behind and overtakes you, and you'll fake who fakes it even better, and so on. So it's this contest of pretense, this continuous comic con. This is Romanian politics. Why is this important? Well, it's important because this alleged sovereigntist, again, they are right in not calling themselves sovereigntists, because they're not. But this alleged conservative party, whom many Romanians support because they believe that it's a sovereigntist party, which it is not, this conservative party tries to paint itself as some sort of representative of the will of the Romanian people. And Among other things, the will of the Romanian people has been subverted in the last years through a lot of policies linked to the will of the State of Israel. So the State of Israel has lobbied successfully for pieces of legislation censoring discourse in Romania, censoring historical memory, censoring historical personalities, censoring speech, censoring political opinions, censoring many things. And the Romanian parliament passed this legislation that's very restrictive. It also passed legislation to take out the history of the Romanians from the school curriculum of the high school students studying in the scientific profile and replace it with the history of the Jewish people that builds up legitimacy for the State of Israel. So the story finishes with the establishment of the State of Israel and what a nice state it is. And I can go on. There are quite a lot of policies that were enacted to the benefit of the State of Israel. And this party, even though nominally supports the interests of the Romanian people and protects them from outside interference, actually it sought support in the most radical fringe elements. Well, fringe, they're quite mainstream, but they're at the rightmost side of the political spectrum in Israel. So if the majority of the political spectrum, the mainstream political spectrum in Romania, has amicable relations with the officially established institutions of the State of Israel, and with Likud, and with Herzog, and with Netanyahu, the opposition, the so-called sovereigntist opposition, has friendship relations with the settler movement in Israel. So with the most far-right elements of Israeli society. What can I say? And not only that, but the permanent representative of this party in Washington, D.C., posted today that America should get tough on European countries, on its European vassals, to make them cough up those 5% for rearmament and to essentially pay up to the American military-industrial system, pay up for daddy's protection. And of course, that includes Romania. Romania is already doing it, so Romania has already pledged to allocate 5% to weapons purchases, 5% of GDP, so 1/6 of the total collected budget from the economy. But on top of that, this alleged sovereigntist, alleged conservative party wants Romania to fulfill its obligation now. So Romania is at about 3.5%, and instead of advocating to escape from this yoke, from this tyrannical yoke of neo-colonial American rule, this party of alleged Romanian interest is even more slavish to the American master than the established political system, than the mainstream political parties. And they try to rob the state coffers of even more money to give to U.S. weapons manufacturers like Raytheon, like Lockheed Martin, and so on. So, unfortunately, this is the treacherous nature of the Romanian political system. And the only solution can only come from organizing at the base of society, from organizing at the bottom. Because if this party had any sorts of constituents that were organized, then those organizations, be them, I don't know, organizations defending freedom, defending family values, defending, rights of the children, rights of, if those organizations were part of this ecosystem of which this party would just be the political instrument, then they would protest. They would say, no, we have to allocate funds to build up our social infrastructure. We should allocate the state funds for the needs of the Romanian citizens, not to pay this tribute to the Sultan in Washington, D.C., like in Ottoman times. So if they had any kind of base of organized support, then they could not afford the luxury of betraying the cause, the national cause, in this way. But since they don't even have membership. This is the interesting thing. So if if various political parties have problems with their stated ideology versus their practical deeds, this party has a problem, a very structural problem, in the fact that it does not have members. So it has a very strange system. If you try to join this party, you have to download an app, you have to put in your details, and then you make a payment. It's kind of a gamification system. And then from supporter, your status changes to supporter. I'm not kidding you. It's not. It doesn't change to member. It changes to supporter, from beginner supporter to advanced supporter, or something like this. And once you pay that money, you don't get a confirmation of being a member. I was tricked into this by a well-known lawyer who used to be a member of this political party. She resigned, or well, you cannot really resign because you're never a member. But anyway, so she said she resigned in the public space. She told me, "Yeah, we're all digital now. We're in the information. We're in the digital era, so there's no need to file in an application, to sign it, and so on, to become a member. No, you just download the app, put in your details, and pay the money, and then you're a member." And I trusted her. I listened to her. I did that. I downloaded the app. I put in my data. I paid the money. And it's like in a joke. It's the joke in the brothel where. A guy goes to the brothel and the door is closed, and knocks on the door, and the voice from inside says, "What do you want?" And the guy says, "I came here to get fucked." And the voice behind the door says, "Okay, slip $100 underneath the door." And the guy slips $100 under the door, and then nothing happens. And the guy knocks again, and the voice behind the door says, "What do you want now?" And the guy says, "I said I want to get fucked." And the voice behind the door says, "Again?" Sorry for laughing at my own jokes, but so this is what happens when you try to join this party. You download the Our app, and you pay the money, and then you wait to be a member. And when the calendar year ends on January 1st, the app tells you that your membership, well, it doesn't tell you that your membership expired. I don't know how it tells you, but it tells you that you have to put in some money again. The only problem is, in that year, half a year, when I tried to be a member of this party, when I tried to consider myself a member of this party, I was not allowed to vote. So I was not allowed to do the basic thing that any party member can do. And I was told that it doesn't work like this, that you actually join and then you have the rights of a member, equal rights, and you can run for office inside the party, and you can vote. And no. I was told by insiders that you have to cozy up to the president, because he decides what is done. And the members are just his volunteers, essentially. So you just join to become a volunteer for this guy. And the fact that you pay that money doesn't give you any kind of membership rights. So after having the experience of being a member of another political party, where there were party offices, you could run for office, it functioned in a pretty statutory way, more or less. There were some election fraud elements, but still, it had branches, it had subsidiaries in every administrative unit of the country. This party doesn't. It's been around for 7 years, and it doesn't have legally established subsidiaries. So maybe it has 4 in the whole country, and for the rest, they're like kind of informal clubs, but they're not legally established. You cannot vote inside the subsidiary, inside the party branch, because it doesn't legally exist. And you can also not vote in the national elections, in the elections for the leadership of the party. So therefore, even though there was a party congress in December last year, there were apparently some delegates. I don't know who delegated them, but I was never asked to vote on their delegation, on anybody's delegation. I have no idea who those delegates were because they were not delegated by anybody. And there was a change of leadership from this rather national conservative, bit sovereigntist direction by one guy who was the first vice president. He was just told not to run for a re-election, and this other guy came in, who is a MAGA guy, a Trumpist, and who received money from the German Marshall Fund of the United States. He had an NGO. The party is now being led by these two people who who came from an NGO, a think tank that received money from the U.S. Embassy under these grants, the German Marshall Fund of the United States. So the U.S. Embassy financed the progressives in Romania through USAID and the National Endowment for Democracy, and it financed the conservatives in Romania through the German Marshall Fund of the United States. And so these GMF guys came in, and basically they run the party now, and they're just MAGA affiliates. They go to Washington with MAGA hats. They praise Trump. They praise any kind of minions that the Republicans have over there. And they offer procurement contracts to the Americans. They offer to rob the state budget of Romania to the benefit of the Americans, even harder than the current administration. So this is the name of the game. Plus, they're very loyal to Israel for all sorts of reasons. This guy who is their permanent representative actually moved to Italy before being sent to this position so that he could serve Israel better. That's what he told me. So he was an Israel firster and America seconder and Romania thirder probably, or I don't know which other country comes in third. But he told me that he didn't have enough traction inside the party before the Congress in December to institute this Israel first policy. And he had to move to Italy to join Meloni's party and to work for the benefit of Israel there. But since the Congress in December and since this new MAGA team was brought on, he was sent to be the permanent representative of the party in the United States. And he's there with the MAGA hat at all of these reunions. And, well, this is the nature of the party that I was a member of, or that I tried to be a member of last year. And this is the problem, that you cannot use the statutory means to get your voice out, to have an opinion, to file in a motion, a rival motion perhaps. I mean, it's not like these guys ran for office inside the party on a MAGA, on an America First or Israel First platform and they won. No, they were the only candidates. So the president of the party told the previous occupants of their positions not to run for re-election and told these guys that they're in charge now. And there were some minions, some lackeys, so-called delegates, but delegates that were not delegated by anybody in a very non-statutory way, that just raised their hands, and the Congress passed the vote of approval for this new leadership team. And of course, on January 1st, when I received the notification on the app, even though it was supposed to be an annual subscription, an annual membership fee, it expired at the end of the calendar year, so it expired in my case only after 6 months. And the app told me to renew it, or otherwise I have no more membership privileges. But I didn't have membership privileges in the first place, so I had no membership privilege whatsoever. Apart from this rather nice party that was thrown for the new members when we were given the membership cards. So that was kind of nice, and that was well, good food, good drinks, good music, people dancing, cheering, having a good time. I can definitely say I took back my investment. So I made a return on my investment through that lavish meal. But apart from that, yeah, it was like in the joke with the brothel. So, do you want to be a member again? So I declined, and so essentially I stopped being a member, not through resignation as it would be statutory and as it would be in any political party, but through no longer um, paying the gamification fee on the app. So this is what I wanted to tell you. Um, until we fix up our society from the bottom, there is no chance for the top to represent us in any meaningful way. And if you like what I do, like, share, subscribe, and join my Telegram channel. I post other content creators there that I follow. So if you enjoy what I do, you'll probably enjoy them as well. And until next time, take care. Bye.